something that the Father's been working on me with for a long time. He's wanting me to start writing. He's wanting me to start speaking. And I keep putting it off. And so I'm in the garden working. And I'm sitting there taking out any of the areas that were starting to die off. And the Father told me, he said, this is the same thing with our lives. You keep the negative and the bad in your life, and it starts killing off everything around it. If you don't take out the dead from the plants in your garden, it sucks all of the life out of everything else, and it will kill everything around it.
It does.
And like I said, this is something like he's wanting me to start writing. He's wanting me to start speaking. But this was something, it hit me. Was it yesterday that I first started saying something about it? But it was yesterday because I was taking a lot out of our tomatoes. I was like, man, I got to get all this out. I'm sitting there taking all this out. And I walked out this morning and everything looked like it had new life.
Yay!
Hallelujah.
And it was like,
just like overnight.
yes.
Yeah.
Of course, then Andy also added fertilizer to the zucchini and the squash the other night. And so I went out, I've been watching these cucumbers and these zucchini for days, and they're staying like this size. And I walked out the next morning and the zucchini was this long. And the cucumbers were this long, and they're just the pickling cucumbers. So they're supposed to stay small. And I'm like, wow, that was overnight. But yes, he does. He wants us to pay attention to that. Whether it's negative people, negative games, negative TV, negative anything that we have in our life.
Get it out.
We have to cut it out because it will drain every living thing out of everything around it.
Well, that's really good point. And then so you got to cut off those things because they become toxic.
Dead.
They're very toxic. And then there's the invaders, like the squash bugs.
Okay, we have not, praise y'all, had any squash bugs.
We have a neighbor who has
We
squash
have
bugs,
not
and they've
had
been visiting
any squash
us.
bugs. But do you know what we're growing our zucchini and squash in? Straw bales.
Bells.
Ah.
Very cool. Okay, so this week, like last week, I was talking a bit about the garden and taking care of things. We talked about we hadn't had any issues with squash bugs, but like this week with the rain that came,
No, it's
the
neighbors.
humidity and whatever, we've had a migration of squash bugs to our yard. And so we've been out there because there's no babies. They're all adults.
They're
and
coming
showing up.
in.
So they're coming in, but that's what happens. We have to stay guard on our gardens. So we got to cut out the toxic things, but then the enemy will also come in and try to bring the things that will kill and destroy the fruitfulness.
That's why
Just like
he wants
Adam.
us to do things like grow the gardens and stuff, because he has so much he can teach us as we're working the garden that makes it clear as to what he's wanting and what he's saying.
Yeah, and it's the due diligence of walking through it. And it's like, it takes time. Like today, I was out there and I got more squash bugs, and we had to do that to save the life of the garden. Because when the eggs, it only takes a day or so, and those eggs are birthing. So we had to kill the eggs and kill that to preserve life.
Yes.
And
Didn't you say it kind of looks like a worm? You said.
Oh, no.
No.
They're ugly.
Really?
Tomatoes have.
But I'll tell you
Oh,
this,
they do?
These are ugly
it's
guys.
about,
I haven't seen you yet.
so you have the poison, the toxin kills the vine, and then you have the invaders that destroy the fruitfulness of that vine. And so we have to be on guard, like Adam, like you said, we have to guard that garden and protect it and watch over it. So,
And it's the little foxes that spoil the vine.
and then here's the other thing. You've got the toxins, then you got the pests, and then you have the ultraviolet rays. You
That's
have
what
to
got one of my
protect
bill
the
peppers.
garden from the
Almost.
ultraviolet rays because it's almost like a false light. I mean, it's real lights coming in, but it's too much.
It's
a-
like
and it
frying
just-
an ant.
it
Well, did
fries
you
it.
know
It
they say
literally
those
fries the plants.
Those solar bursts, they've had solar bursts off the sun. They're like nothing we've ever had before.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
So, that might be.